It's Wednesday, February 28. In the headlines, the Jamaica Labour Party leading the electoral recount in St. Thomas. In business news, we look at the government's new Face of Food initiative. Regionally, Barbados to host first global supply chain forum. And in sports, young reggae boys close to CONCACAF championship qualification. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gay. The Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is seemingly poised to take over the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation following Monday's local government elections. A preliminary count for the division following the election on Monday resulted in a tie. However, the recount showed that Andrea Patience of the JLP won the division, polling 1,316 votes to the People's National Party's Edwin Marr, who polled 1,309 votes. The Landoway win means the JLP will hold 6 of the 10 divisions in the parish. The incumbent mayor is Hubert Williams, the PMP's representative, who preliminary counts showed retained the White Horses division. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, has transferred the final count of votes in the St. Andrew East rural constituency to its Duke Street head office in downtown Kingston. This as the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation tied 2020 between the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party after Monday's local government election. Director of Elections, Glasspool Brown, says the preemptive move is to avoid any angst at the counting centre, as the outcome will have an impact on which party controls the KSAMC, which is regarded as the crown jewel in the island's 14 local government authorities. He says the counting will continue today and that the EOJ will be reviewing other critical areas as the process continues. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Black River Fire Station in St. Elizabeth now boasts improved capacity to respond to emergencies. The Prime Minister and other officials reopened the rehabilitated fire station recently. The improvements were done at a cost of $60 million.
The scope of works included the complete rehabilitation and expansion of the existing building, erecting perimeter fencing, paving of the compound, and drainage improvements. In his address, Mr. Holness emphasized the impact of proper fire facilities.
And I'm talking now from as far as to the border of Westmoreland, the important community of White House. I was with them last week. To communities such as Newmarket, Holland, and Pedro Cross, Flagaman, Turtle Beach, Middle Quarters, Luana. All of these are important communities. But you know what else? They have significant businesses. All of them pay taxes. And it would have been a travesty if anything were to happen to homes.
To further illustrate his point, Mr. Holness added that the facility responded to some 1,459 calls last year,
including vehicular accidents and fires and so forth last year. And that's a lot. The challenge with giving you the statistic is that you don't really see the full value of 1,459 emergencies. But if you were to say how many lives possibly would have been saved, not all of them would have been life-threatening, but let's say 10% of them were life-threatening. You know, then you start to say, what is the value of one life? The value is infinite.
Mr. Holness also emphasized that a fire station is an important symbol of community which must be in place when towns, cities, and administrative departments are established.
It's a local service. So too is your fire station. So too is your Labor and Social Security Office. So too is your Post Office. These are all local services, critical elements, components of the community.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
The Jamaica Fire Brigade, JFB, will soon open its doors to train new personnel. Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, has disclosed that 151 positions will be open.
The training of firefighters has been an important feature since 2016. For the first time since 2017, the Jamaica Fire Brigade has added over 800 firefighters to the complement of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. This is an outstanding achievement. And since then, the brigade has gotten the approval from the Ministry of Finance for an additional 151 positions in the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Now to take the complement of the Jamaica Fire Brigade to over 2,000. This is an achievement.
Minister McKenzie notes that the complement of the brigade's fire prevention division will be increased by 140 persons. The minister also announced that the government will be purchasing another fireboat for the JFB as well as other equipment needed.
We have renovated 19 fire stations right across the country. But one of the important features, Prime Minister, of the government's performance for the Jamaica Fire Brigade was the acquisition of 2 fireboats. For years, the Jamaica Fire Brigade operated below. And I'm pleased to announce that in this new financial year, a third boat at a cost of $7 million US, which is about $1 billion Jamaican dollars, will be added.
Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining and Member of Parliament for the area, Floyd Green, described the rehabilitated fire station as a statement piece.
So I'm very happy as a member of Parliament to be in charge of the constituency at this time that we're truly experiencing a rebirth of Black people. This is one of the many public sector investments, including the hospital, including the high school, the of Chief Prime Minister, and now this fire station stands as a statement piece to the progress and the resurgence of Black people.
Both ministers were bringing greetings during the official reopening of the Black River Fire Station in St. Elizabeth recently. Proven Properties Limited and the Jamaica Institution of Engineers have inked a memorandum of understanding geared towards transforming the landscape of engineering education and industry standards. More in this report from Danita Rodney.
With a focus on collaboration, innovation, and excellence, Proven Properties Limited and Jamaica Industry of Engineers are poised to shape the future of engineering education and industry standards in the country. According to a news release, among the key provisions of the agreement are initiatives to explore current and future educational requirements and establish a framework providing funding opportunities for scholarships, internships, apprenticeships, mentorships, and other forms of student engagement at tertiary institutions offering engineering education. These programs will be coordinated by the JIE and funded by PPL, with a focus on institutions such as the University of the West Indies Mona and the University of Technology Jamaica. The partnership also includes measures to hold engineers accountable for their professional obligations and to establish an institutional framework to govern collaborative activities. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Time now for more news and market updates in the business sector from Denise Williams. She has the business report.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Honorable Floyd Green, said the ministry has a program in place to facilitate access by farmers to arable lands, including former sugarcane lands for crop production and livestock farming. JIS News reports that the government is looking to use lands that were once under sugarcane cultivation to boost the country's agricultural production. Increasing access to farmlands is in keeping with the government's new Face of Food initiative, which focuses on 4 strategic pillars: food security, agribusiness development, climate-smart technologies, and export expansion. Minister Green was speaking at the recent handover of letters of possession for lands at Old Hampton in Wakefield, Trelawney. For years, old sugarcane lands have sat idly, but we have a plan to make those lands productive and contribute to the growth of the agriculture sector, he said. We want to utilize at least 1,000 hectares for a livestock zone, which includes cattle and small ruminants, 500 hectares for planting fruit trees, which include ackee, breadfruit, and mango, and 2,500 hectares for diversified agricultural production, the minister noted. On the heels of the California-based Rose Batteries acquisition by Jamaican-based Tropical Battery, 2 new directors are now on the Tropical Battery board. They are Atamar Frankenthal and Andrew Kramer. Frankenthal is a distinguished professional with a multifaceted career spanning engineering, entrepreneurship, and academia. As the CEO of Rose Batteries, Frankenthal was instrumental in the significant growth of the company through innovation, focusing on providing customized solutions for original equipment manufacturers. His tenure was marked by strategic leadership that enhanced the company's reputation for reliable and essential power solutions. Following the acquisition of Rose Batteries by Tropical Battery, Frankenthal transitioned to a consulting role before taking up his current position as director. Meanwhile, Kramer is a co-founder and COO of Kaya, an overseas project development and implementation company. He is a frequent speaker at regional energy and technology conferences, including the MIT Technology Reviews, MTech, and the Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum, on topics including the role of disruptive technologies like machine learning and how that will play in the renewable energy industry. The Dominican Republic believes that Caribbean countries must cooperate more with each other, and the Spanish-speaking nation is still interested in joining the Caribbean community CARICOM, according to its ambassador to Guyana, Ernesto Torres Paella. Ambassador Torres Paella said the Abanier-led government is deliberately focused on partnerships with Guyana and the wider Caribbean region as part of efforts to guarantee that the Dominican Republic and other countries in the region prosper. With a seemingly sound bilateral relationship with Guyana, the Dominican Republic still has an interest in being part of CARICOM. CARICOM is a 15-member bloc of countries in the Caribbean. There are also 5 associate members. At least twice before, in the late 1980s and in 2013, the Dominican Republic requested to join CARICOM, but discussions were suspended both times. At last year's closing press conference of the 45th Heads of Government Conference in Port of Spain, CARICOM Chairman and Prime Minister of Dominican Republic, Roosevelt Skerrit, said Martinique and Curacao are set to become new members of the bloc. Guyana currently holds the chairmanship of CARICOM, and from Sunday to Wednesday, the bloc's 46th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government will be hosted in Guyana. Hilton announced it will open 15 hotels, in the Caribbean and Latin America by 2024. Last year, Hilton opened 19 hotels and approximately 4,000 rooms, representing the most significant number of rooms added in the region's history. The U.S. hotel chain plans to make openings across multiple brands, including the opening of Waldorf Astoria, Costa Rica, Zemi Mishi's All-Inclusive Resort, and Curio Collections by Hilton in the Dominican Republic. Hilton's portfolio in Latin America and the Caribbean comprises more than 220 hotels and 40,000 rooms, spanning 15 brands and 29 countries and territories. The company's pipeline in the region continues to strengthen with the signing of more than 35 new hotel agreements in 2023. With a strong year of signings in 2023 and a broad portfolio of 110 hotels under development, the company expects this momentum in the region to continue. Hilton is a leading global company with a portfolio of 22 world-class brands comprising nearly 7,500 properties and over 1.2 million rooms in 126 countries and territories. During trading on February 27, 2024, the top 3 advancing stocks covered the finance and insurance sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Epley 7.75% shares advanced by 15.67% for a $2.98 increase to close at $22 with 12 shares traded. Sterling Investments Limited US dollar shares advanced by 13.71% to close at 2 cents with 490 shares traded. Key Insurance Company Limited shares advanced by 11.69% for a 29-cent increase to close at $2.77 with 34,992 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on February 27, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the technology, finance, and energy sector on the stock exchange. MPC Caribbean Clean Energy Limited JMD shares declined by 25.39% for a $28.93 drop to close at $85 with 1,000 shares traded. Mailpack Group Limited declined by 13.68% for a $1.07 drop to close at $6.75 with 30,722 shares traded. Jamaica Money Market Brokers Limited 7.25% cumulative shares declined by 12.79% for a 22 cents price drop to close at $1.50 with 1,173,500 shares traded. Trading activity on the first-tier market of the Trinidad and Tobago stock market for February 27, 2024 registered a volume of 1,774,044 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange valued at TT $8,676,263.05. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 1,624,456 shares changing hands for a value of TT $7,098,322.82, followed by NCB Financial Group Limited with a volume of 100,400 shares being traded for a value of TT $321,400. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the regional exchanges, we turn to the Forex market. On February 27, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $17.8 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $17.9 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.05 and bought the US dollar for $155.54. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.51, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $5.04 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $117.21 and bought for $112.17. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $4.07, selling it for $200.07 and buying it for $196. For your credit repair tip of the day, having different types of money stuff, like savings account or a loan, is like having different tools in your toolbox. It shows that you know how to handle different money situations. Plus, having a mix of money stuff can make your credit worthiness even better. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, Barbados' government is looking at restructuring its supply chains for fuel products to hopefully source imports at a cheaper price. This will be one of the main agenda items as Barbados creates history in preparing its first Global Supply Chain Forum this year. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kerry Simmons, says it comes as the island tries to cope with international challenges like the Ukraine war, which has made it very difficult for local industries to operate.
You will recognize, for example, that with the war in the Ukraine, the cost of energy, of vital input, petroleum products, gas, diesel, etc., that has gone up. It makes it very difficult, therefore, for industry here to operate because we are dependent still very heavily on importing our fossil fuels into the island, which drive our industrial output. So we have to find ways of sourcing that energy commodity at a cheaper price. One of the reasons why we build a relationship with Venezuela right next door and argue with the Americans that an embargo on economic activity and trade with a nation like Venezuela, while they may feel that it is useful to apply political pressure to that administration, it has the unintended knock-on effect of making life harder for all of us in this region. We have to have the maritime or the marine ability to move goods from country to country within this region, which is one of the reasons why you would have seen in the press very recently that Barbados and Trinidad and Guyana are working on a regional ferry service. Yes, we would like to move people for pleasure purposes as well, but the critical thing must be that we access food security in this region by making Guyana far more accessible, more easily accessible, and similarly with Trinidad and Tobago, which has now spent $5 million to further develop their rice production capacity, so that this country that does not produce rice will be able to offer it to our nation because we as a people are large consumers of that product, but we have to import it.
With confidence in the current management of the Guyanese economy, the United Kingdom has increased the amount of designated funds available for the government and to private sector to tap into. The UK Minister for the Americas, Caribbean and Overseas Territories, David Rutley, announced on Tuesday that the UK's Export Credit Agency market risk appetite for Guyana has been hiked to £2.1 billion.
It's my pleasure to share with you that UKF's country limit or market risk appetite, the MRA, for Guyana has been increased from £750 million to £2.1 billion, more than nearly tripling the support available for Guyanese buyers of UK goods and services, and this effectively increases the ability of businesses to access finance for projects and programmes. This effectively enhances the level of potential new business that UKF can support in Guyana across sectors in which the UK offer can be more instrumental. It is also a reflection of the confidence that the UK has in the stewardship of the economy of Guyana by the government. In terms of the practical effect, UKF cover can support the Guyanese government in accessing competitive long-term financing for national priority projects, such as social infrastructure, healthcare, education, or transport.
The announcement that you just made, that is to say an increase in UKEF's market risk appetite in relation to Guyana from £750 million to £2.1 billion. That represents a very clear signal of the UK's confidence in Guyana as a destination for British companies to invest in and as a place for British companies to do business with. And we want to thank you very much for this very clear, demonstrated and tangible expression of confidence in Guyana and in the Guyanese economy.
Energy security and the transformation and modernization of energy systems across the region was a central topic at last week's Energy Conference and Expo in Guyana. And Trinidad and Tobago's Energy and Energy Industries Minister Stuart Young is making a case for regional collaboration on these issues.
According to Minister of Energy and Energy Industries Stuart Young, certain developed countries are on the brink of taking positions which will affect how the region uses its natural resources. This, he said, will include introducing carbon taxes on Caribbean community products. The Energy Minister was speaking at the Guyana edition of the Energy Conference last week.
We need to collaborate at this stage and take the responsibility, my brothers in Guyana, Suriname and Trinidad, for the region. Because I've listened for the last few days and even before this to the conversations about energy security and fueling transformation and modernization.
The minister said developed countries are setting standards for developing nations which are unattainable.
Right now in CARICOM, many of our island states are facing the dilemma of what to do with their electricity grid, as they've reached that aged position where they now need to take decisions, and there's this push towards renewables.
Minister Young shared an evaluation of the situation.
It is going to cost $14 billion to move Caribbean CARICOM island states to renewables. Put quite simply, that is not realistic, because when you look at the financial feasibility and the bankability of changing the grids, moving to renewables, it simply isn't there on population size, on island space size, etc.
He continued.
We hold part of the solution in this dilemma for the rest of CARICOM. And it is incumbent upon us to push and to fight hard to be able to utilize the resources in our region to first of all provide that energy security for the region, and then also to offer options outside of the region.
Minister Young pointed to some of these available resources.
Out of the 640,000+ barrels of oil a day that are being produced by Guyanese natural resources, owned by the people of Guyana, how much of that is actually being utilized for the energy security of the region?
In sports, we're on the field with football as Jamaica's under-20 Reggae boys mined a 2-0 win over Grenada in their Group F match in St. Kitts on Monday. The result made it 2 wins from 2 matches for Jamaica at the tournament after clipping Martinique 1-0 in their opening fixture to have sole leadership of the group with 6 points. This means they are a point away from qualifying for the CONCACAF Championship. But first, the boys will have to take on Bermuda in their final group encounter on Wednesday. Only the group winners will advance to the final round. Staying with football, the Reggae girls lost their second game of their 2-match international tour against hosts Chile on Tuesday. The Chileans won the first game 5-1 and beat the girls 1-0 in the second encounter. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.